Alright folks, Rick Wall came back again, this week looking at the Doctor Who episode, Listen. This is a creepy episode. I'd say it rates about 9.9 on the Scooby-Doo scale. But, as fear is a good thing, as fear is a superpower, let's jump right in. Well, this is probably going to be a short section, because there wasn't that much plot to talk about. Essentially, it was the Doctor being obsessed with what's hidden under the bed. And Clara and Danny went on a date. That ended very badly. So, to track the creature, the Doctor goes back to a creepy children's home in the 90s. And then forward to desolate and creepy end of the universe. It's a bit like Utopia, but after all the people left. In the end, we don't know if there were actual monsters or if it's just all in our head, hearing banging and, taking it to the next level. As a Scooby-Doo fan, I have to believe the latter. And really, that's all there is to the plot. So he's the driving force behind this episode. At last! 4 episodes in, and finally, he's the important one. I mean, he gets obsessed with this idea of the creature that's perfected the ability to hide. We've no idea what actually triggers him to do this, but it actually leads him to a search for the creature under the bed. And yeah, it becomes the only thing he can focus on. It's, proper obsession, which is really interesting to look at. Also, we get the return of the psychic paper. Shame we didn't actually see that last week. I would have liked to see if Robin could actually see through it. Speaking of Robin Hood, the petty rivalry the Doctor had with him and that petty competitiveness came back again with the idea of being the last man standing. Looks like that might be a trait for this Doctor, and I actually really like that competitiveness. I really hope it is his new defining trait. And also got to say, I loved his 2 dad moments. Finger on the forehead, putting him to sleep. That trick is straight out of the 7th Doctor, by the way. Putting finger on the forehead and boom, down they go. And the other one, when he was asking Clara about the date and showing me a fatherly concern. It's one of those things I actually really like, moments like that, and it really helped define their relationship. So yeah, Doctor, spot on in this for me. Capaldi nailed it. And he was actually given stuff worth doing this time. So, well done, Moffat. Yeah, a bit of an up and down week for Clara for me this week. I mean, first the bad, she's, insensitive and really bad at flirting on her date. She's incredibly vain, gives the Doctor orders, and still too much the central focus of the story. Oh, and I found myself correcting her grammar at one point. On the flip side, though, she actually acknowledges her flaws in kind of a cute way. Was really good with that child. Proved herself brave and resourceful. And she even got a few epic lines in there. Including, the bit about a soldier so brave he doesn't need a gun. Which was a really nice moment. And really defined Rupert's character from that point on, essentially, I think. But it still feels too much like the Clara show for me. She's, it's all about her. The central focus. But in this episode, she actually wasn't too bad. She was actually enjoyable and well written and, as always, well performed. It actually was okay this week. Okay, I'm going to look at the pinks together. There's not that much to say about Orson. Essentially, he's from the future. He's scared and he wants to go home. That's pretty much it for him. Danny, on the other hand, well, we find out he's crap on first dates, dug 23 wells as a soldier, and he doesn't do weird, which sort of doesn't help him for this series. It's implied he's Orson's great-granddad and that he's travelled in time. But aside from the big red sign that says future companion, we found out his real first name, which is Rupert, and that he grew up in a children's home. While there, he was actually visited by the Doctor and Clara. Possibly even the Silence. Or maybe it was just a child in a bedsheet. I tend to believe the latter. But I actually liked the fact that he'd met Clara then. I mean, it explains to me why it's such a big deal going on the date with her. I mean, this woman looks exactly like the one that saved you when you were a child. And, you know, inspired you to become Dan the Soldier Man. Now, that's, you know, a pretty big deal, really. So, yeah, I can kind of get that. He's still too much of a, you know, pro-fangirl character for me, but he's growing on me. I don't know if I want to like him, but that fangirl stuff's getting in the way. Or if I really don't want to like him, but how well he's played and how well he's actually being done by Samuel Anderson, that I like him anyway. I think time will have to tell on that. We still don't know. Okay, there's an elephant in the room. And I've been putting it off as long as I can. I know you know which scene I'm talking about. The Doctor as a child. Now, I don't think the scene was needed. I don't think it helped the series. And I think it was just self-indulgent of Moffat to include it. But it is here. It is canon. As such, I'm going to have a look at it. Now, the thing I liked most about it was the same barn as the one from Day of the Doctor. In fact, this entire scene, and therefore the episode as a whole, because this was the crux of the scene of the episode, really, I think, served a nice epilogue to the Doctor trilogy, 50th anniversary trilogy, whatever you want to call it, trilogy. Who were they talking over him? Were they his parents? Were they teachers? No, I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. My money's on it being teachers. But don't tell me. I don't want to know. And I actually read a theory that this was the Doctor straight after he'd seen Into the Schism. Well, that's the main reason he was in tears. I actually really like that theory. I hope that theory is true, and I hope we never find out if it is. In my headcanon, that is what happened. So, it was Clara then that first said to him, "Never cruel or cowardly." Yeah, it would be. More indulgence there, Moffat. Though I do like the idea of fear being his constant companion. And, you know, that being a good thing. And the way it was a callback to it being a superpower when he met little Rupert. That was a nice touch. What wasn't, though, is I don't understand why didn't Clara say at the end of that scene, "Run, you clever boy, and remember." It looked the perfect scene for doing that, especially when she actually referred to him as a clever boy. Well, also, how did they get to Gallifrey? I thought Gallifrey was totally time-locked and therefore inaccessible at any point. Yeah, bad scene. Don't like it. Had some really nice moments. Okay, so 40 minutes of creepy. Very creepy. And not much happening. Followed by 5 followed by the 5-minute mini episode Epilogue of the Doctor. So it did a great job of creating atmosphere. Had plenty of character, created so much atmosphere, such creepiness. And I'm sure it gave a load of kids proper sleepless nights. But in the end, not much happened really. It was creepy. Really creepy. It raised more questions than it answered. And in the end, it felt like a really creepy Scooby-Doo story. Saying that though, I am a huge Scooby-Doo fan. A solid 8 from me this week, I think. Too much self-indulgence, not much plot, and the romance was kind of crap. But I like the fact there was no monsters. Or was there? And my God, was it creepy. Next week looks like it'll be a lot of fun though. So, I'll see you then. Till then, silly.